enter into contract with them for this ongoing service. For at least for this year, I'm planning on funding this out of the engineering department's professional services line.
This 14,000, is that every quarter or that's for a year?
Nope, that's for the year.
Any questions on that from the board? Okay, with that, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion, we approve the professional services contract for V3 Engineering for the,
Motion, well, yeah, motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. I would, Dick, for council, we need to remember that if this is going to be an ongoing cost we want to make sure we include that in. I don't know if it should be planning and zoning from a.
I would envision it being engineering just because per our permits, I'm the one responsible for filing these reports.
Okay.
I guess down the road, as staffing systems change, it could be a parks related issue. But right now it says the engineer or my designee is to perform the inspections and to file the yearly reports.
Okay, so it doesn't need to be an engineering department then. So yeah, just something to remember. We probably need to put that in the budget just for next year. So, okay, thank you, Kevin. All right, next up would be another contract for the Chadwick Village ditch drainage and environmental mitigation. Kevin?
Yep, we've talked about this for a while, and Mr. Councilman Copeland asked me to put this on the agenda for tonight. This would be, so this is just for the engineering involved with the redesign, the mitigation, and the permitting associated with relocating the Chadwick ditch. So we sought proposals from 3 different firms, and Banning Engineering was our low proposal at $59,220. Per the request of some people on this body as well as City Council, that does include mitigation. It includes investigation and mitigation of any residential connections to that ditch. So think about downspout connections, sump pump connections, things of that nature. So again, this is just for engineering services. This is just to put a plan in place. This is not asking for authorization or appropriation for any money. We have a healthy budget every year of existing appropriations out of our stormwater fund that would be paying for this design service.
Yeah, I would say this is kind of our board, or from the stormwater perspective, that's kind of where the board's operating under this standpoint. So it would be under the stormwater utility that also is this board as well too. So any questions or concern with that as presented?
Kevin, where's the drainage ditch going to be relocated to?
Actually, I can show you. We can get a connection here. I'm plugged in. So what they would be proposing, so the areas we have problems with are really the area highlighted in green, the area highlighted in blue or cyan there is where we have some standing water issues. So the green area would be regraded to be steeper and more properly drained. The blue area would be relocated to the magenta line there in the field. It would be creating a mitigation of that creek. So it would be creating a meandering, natural appearing stream. I would preface that the water that stands in the blue area now at times will stand on the magenta line. That's part of the requirement of doing stream mitigation and creating habitat, is that at certain portions of the year, that creek mitigation would be required to be wet to provide that habitat for wildlife.
Like now, we've gotten so much rain in 2 weeks.
Definitely in spring and fall, you would see water standing out there. Again, though, this would be a much less manicured area. This would no longer be in people's backyards. The area around it would be allowed to be more natural, prompting vegetation, prompting animal habitat, animals like snakes and frogs that would eat the mosquito larvae that may be growing in the ditch today that don't really have any predators because essentially there could be beavers. We'll get Trapper Scott out there to take care of those if that does come up.
Hey, Kevin, can you send this to me?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, the beavers?
No, I don't, without the beavers.
There's no beavers on this ditch
Okay.
to date, but
Answer your question, Bill? You good with that? Yeah. Okay. So this was actually, oh, go ahead. Go down.
So once upon a time, I think, that area was going to be proposed to develop some kind of a park or that apparently has gone by the wayside, right?
I mean, it is city-owned property. The access isn't great, especially now with the development of Angeli Gardens. We did reserve an easement right on the Angeli Gardens plat for access to this. The Parks Department, I believe it's the Parks Department, bush hogs this on a regular basis, and we would continue to do so, maybe actually less often than we do today. Could it be a park? It could be. That's a possibility at some point in the future if we would want to invest in improvements. But right now, it is a city-owned, naturalized area and a stream mitigation site.
We have to spend a lot of labor hours and time to upkeep it, to mow it when it floods a lot of the time. And so really just
It's a difficult piece of ground to use as a park because of the nature of what it is, that it does have a lot of standing water and issues. And there's standing water not just in the ditch, the entire field has standing water at times.
All right, with that then, would entertain a motion to approve the contract with Baining Engineering, is that correct? Or Banning?
Correct.
Baining, for the Chadwick Village ditch drainage environmental mitigation.
Make a motion, we approve the professional service contract approval for Chadwick Village ditch draining and environmental management for Banning.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Dick. All fair side.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved. All right, next up is a professional services contract 9, I guess, for State Road 39 corridor and relinquishment study. Kevin.
Absolutely. So this is for a corridor study. The proposal is provided to you by Avenue, and they do a lot of project coordination, project development with NDOT, and essentially this comes out of really requests for NDOT that came to see myself over the last couple of years, the mayor as well, and have said we really would like to relinquish 39 to you. Would you be interested in taking it? The answer has always been perhaps under the right set of circumstances. So this study is to do just that, is to help us determine the circumstances. What improvements would we ask them to make up front? How much money would we ask them to put into the deal if we were taking it over? Long-term commitments towards the corridor, whether that might be funding operations for future projects, things of that nature. We're asking for their support for things of that nature. So this is really to put us on good footing for that ongoing conversation with the state on potential relinquishment.
I think, Kevin, I would say the discussion we had with NDOT, the way they look at things, they look over on a 10-year horizon to say, hey, we're going to spend X amount of money over the next 10 years. So we'll give this to you and we'll give you X, right? To take it from us forever. Doesn't necessarily contemplate if X doesn't include any improvements or making things better or make it work better. And it's really just how much are they going to pay for over maintenance. So this is to essentially give us leverage within NDOT to be like, hey, we did a study and we said we need X plus Y plus Z. So let's figure out what actually the correct number is, right? So it gives us hard documentation to go back to NDOT to say, this is what it should be based on what we think the improvements need to be to best solve this problem.
And the delta between where they start and where we start is that we really say 39 in 10 years is not going to look like it does today. And if we just take 10 years or 20 years worth of operational expenses from you, we're going to be woefully inadequate when it comes to that corridor.
Or we feel it's already woefully inadequate today from a traffic flow standpoint and it needs work today, right? So
What part, what's the road here? I mean, at 39, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Lebanon Street, State Road 39 from the interstate, potentially all the way to 47. Now, the county may be involved, taking it north of 300 North. But if the county is not interested, the state has said they would be okay really relinquishing it in its entirety all the way to 47 to the city.
So essentially, they would reroute 39. That would be, onto I-65, up I-65, and then off 47. So then 47, 39 would be the same road until they switches.
Exactly.
So.
And we've also had those conversations we've had with NDOT. The county highway department, the county commissioners were in the room, so they're aware of all this. Regardless of whether or not they want to take over that portion of the road from 300 to 47, there are also bridges on the corridor that they would be taking over, so they would be involved in the relinquishment, regardless of whether or not they're assuming a new piece of road for maintenance.
And I will say, I did talk to a few different engineering firms about this proposal. A few of them didn't send me a number back. The other number I got from another firm was 2.5 times larger than this proposal for them. So I thought this was both I think it was a good price point for what we're trying to do with it. So
It also includes, as a partner in this design, A&F Engineering, who does do all of our traffic modeling and our road impact modeling. So we feel confident that this is the right team that understands our traffic model and understands how to coordinate projects with NDOT. So we think this is the best way for us.
do you want to touch on how we're funding it, Kevin?
Yes, we feel confident we can fund this through road impact fee dollars that we've already collected. We will have to do an additional appropriation, so this approval tonight would be subject to that additional appropriation approval, but we've already begun that legwork with the clerk treasurer's office to put those appropriation notices together. But because this would involve a study of the corridor and the traffic impacts associated with the corridor and those impacts that would be realized due to the relinquishments, we feel, our consultants feel confident that this can be 100% funded by our road impact fees.
Any questions or concerns from the board? Okay. Would entertain a motion then to approve the State Road 39 corridor relinquishment study, subject to funding approval from council.
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? That is approved. All right, next up, this is Abner Longley Perimeter Path.
Yes. So as you're aware, we're doing phase one of the perimeter path. I didn't touch on that, I think, in my report, but that is a project that actually started this week with some tree clearing and earthwork will be happening as the land gets a little drier. That will take the path from the northwest corner of the football fields from an intersection with the Big Four Trail south to the parking lot. And so this is to take the path around the remainder of the perimeter of Abner Longley Park, as well as a spur that kind of goes off of the northeast corner of the parking lot around the south side of the pond, of the Conservation Club pond, and connects to the Big Four. So it creates some really nice walking loops around the park. We felt the first phase was very easy. We're building a path kind of on the high side of a drainage ditch. This portion of the path gets a lot more complicated with areas that don't drain well and have a lot of standing water. So we felt it best to bring on some outside engineering services to help us make sure we're properly surveying the area, properly accounting for drainage, properly connecting to the county legal drain that runs through the park, and really developing a set of construction documents that we can put forward into put out there for public bidding. The budget for this year includes $600,000 for this path. So this design fee will be funded out of that. And this is roughly 10% of that construction budget that we put together. So it's in line with what we would like to see. And again, we'll cover all the coordination with drainage, lighting layouts, as well as construction documents and bidding services to put the project in a state that we can go out for public bid. Obviously, at $600,000 for construction, this would require public bidding.
Any questions on that from the board?
I got one.
Go, Dick.
Kevin, based on the information you sent me, I'm looking at a picture here. It's got a red line through the park. Is that the county legal drain?
Yeah, I guess again, if we can
Kind of goes
pull
off
this
at
up
an
here.
angle. Yeah.
So.
I remember there was a big drain going through there.
Yeah, so this is a map. This is a very high level map that really Zach Burge, our project manager, put together with John and his staff on what the desired route would be as we look through there. The legal drain kind of goes through the field, kind of parallels this red line as you see there out in the field. So there would be drainage connections that would be made to that. We'd be incorporating our master drainage study that we did for the park. When was that? In 2019, I think we finished a drainage study. So it would be including making some of those drainage improvements as we go through this area as well. Another sketch about how we're going to be redeveloping.
Well, this red line comes in at an angle. That's
The red line is the path.
That's the path.
That's the path. That's the.
We're
And that's also where the drainage
kind
easement
of
is
cutting
too.
out
Mhm.
part of the park, the way I look at it.
Well, and this is not final. If we could push that closer to the trees as well.
Why don't we look at taking out those trees in that corner?
It's very wet.
Oh, in the southeast corner here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that is a regulated wetland, so we've always tried to stay away from that.
It's all wet there too, Dick. It's-
I know it's wet there.
Yeah.
I know that.
So yeah, I mean the line that you see there, again, this is preliminary. Is there any magic to that, and could it look more like this? Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one of the things we'll study as we look through this process.
I just look at it as though we're taking out a ball field or something right there by cutting across the field.
And we don't currently use any of those fields for ball fields, although I would say maybe that is because, and John could probably speak to this, because they don't drain real well. So maybe at some point we would, with these improvements, we could get some soccer fields back in there. It's what used to be played in that area.
Well, that was one of the drainage projects that we've always been wanting to do, is try to drain that park so we could use it a little better.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, concerns on that? Go good, Dick? Okay. Then would entertain a motion then to approve the services contract for the Abner Longley Perimeter Path with, what's the company name?
The company is Naventium Design.
Naventium, thank you.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve professional service contract for Abner Longley preliminary path by Navidi.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Dick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved. All right, change order contract for Fordyce Road.
Thank you very much. This is change order number 11. I mentioned briefly earlier that, we were working with the contractor, and we really felt as we were getting into the drainage of what we call phase 2, which is the area between Park Street and Grant Street, that we had some issues with drainage, and possibly larger issues than what the project had originally envisioned. Because essentially the project through that phase was the construction of a path, and then basically a wedge and level project of resurfacing the road, as well as new curbs and sidewalks. So we wanted to, actually, there was a Milestone that came to us and said they think they have problems with the way it was originally designed, kind of as a remove and replace, and asked for us to consider them bringing in a third-party firm to do some additional design work here. And we looked at this. We couldn't bring our consultant back to the table to do this additional design work any cheaper. So that's the reason why we're bringing this forward as a change order to the construction contract. So for change order number 11, the total price is $4,815. Again, well within our contingency budgets on the project, so no additional appropriations are needed.
Questions on that from the board? Okay, we did a motion to approve the change order. Is it just a contract or is there a number to it? 11. Change order number 11, thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you. All right, Kevin, you got the next ones on the makeover program.
Yes, sorry, several more of these here. Let's start with Collier's Corner. And so what we have here is Collier's Corner is the project at the northwest corner of 39 and 32. The redevelopment of that project is part of a 180 makeover program. And so the 180 makeover program monies that are coming from the Indy MPO funneled through the city to this project. Essentially, it's an owner-occupied rehab project, rehab grant. And so from an electrical standpoint, we went out and got 4 quotes for the electrical work on that building. And the low quote at $114,325 is to Adams Electric. And we would recommend you authorize us to enter into contracts with them and subject to legal review, authorizing the mayor to execute those on your behalf.
Any questions to that, board? Would entertain a motion to approve as presented for the Collier's Corner Electrical.
I'll make a motion, we approve as presented.
Motion approved. Is there a second? Second from Judge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved. All right, next is Collier's Corner Storefront.
Thank you very much. Essentially, same explanation here. This is for the storefront windows and doors on the project. We sought quotes for this. Again, this is within our quoting threshold. So 4 quotes were received, and 4 quotes were sought, 3 were received. And the lowest, most responsive and responsible quote is from Whitaker Glass at $43,970. And I apologize, I should back up on that last action. Adams Electric was the lowest, most responsible and responsive quoter on that project as well. Again, here, storefront windows, Whitaker Glass, local company, is the lowest, most responsive and responsible quoter at $43,970. And we would recommend you authorize us to enter into a contract with them, subject to legal review, all the provisions of the grant program, and authorizing the mayor to execute on your behalf.
So I just want to clarify too, the Gatsby did not meet the specifications, so that's why it wasn't selected.
Yes, there was a lower quote, but it was excluded because they were not deemed to be responsive and responsible because their quote did not meet the specifications.
So we have is there a motion to approve as presented?
So move.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? That is approved. Thank you, Kevin. All right, next, moving on to the Lido building.
Opinions vary on that one.
It's not a cruise ship, it's not the Lido deck, right? So there you go. Lido building, electrical.
So similar to, this is right next door, essentially connected buildings with a party wall. And again, same program. This is part of the 180 makeover program, part of grant funds that were awarded by the federal government to the MPO and then to the city of Lebanon as a subrecipient. And there are 3 phases of scope associated with that grant program here. And the first one is electrical. Again, we sought quotes for the electrical work. 4 quotes were sought, 3 responded, 1 declined to quote on the project. And with that, the lowest, most responsive and responsible quote came from Adams Electric at $86,430. Again, we would ask that you authorize us, subject to legal review and the provisions of the grant program, to execute contracts with Adams Electric, authorizing the mayor to sign on your behalf.
Question on that from the board? Entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion we approve as presented.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second from Judge. All there say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved. All right, next will be the Lido plumbing.
Thank you very much. Very similar process here. 4 quotes were sought, 3 were received. And the low quote for the plumbing work associated with this project is from Blue Fox at a total of $44,564. So they are determined to be the lowest, most responsive and responsible quoter. And again, we would ask for your authorization, subject to legal review and the grant provisions to execute a contract with Blue Fox and authorize the mayor to sign on your behalf.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve as presented?
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? That is approved. All right. And finally, the storefront.
Thank you very much. We have storefronts associated with the Lido project. Similar to the last one, 4 quotes were sought. One contractor declined to quote. One quote from Gatsby Glass was determined to be non-responsive and responsible because it did not meet the contract required specifications. And so the low quote is again from Whitaker Glass at $56,410. And we would ask for you to authorize us to enter into a contract with them, subject to legal review and the provisions of the grant requirements, authorizing the mayor to sign on your behalf.
Questions on that from the board? Motion to approve as presented? Motion, second? Second from Judge? Yep, Dick on the first, second from Judge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, excited to see those buildings come back to life. That'll be exciting.
Very excited. And that's all I have.
All right, that's all. All right. Any other new business from the board? Okay, move on to claims. Would entertain a motion concerning the claims?
Make a motion, we approve the claims.
Motion to approve the claims. Is there a second? Second from Judge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. Any announcements or discussion? Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion adjourned from Dick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be April 28th at 6:15 PM. Redevelopment Commission is up next, and we are adjourned.